All right, let's dive into a poem that is just timeless. We're talking about Sonnet 75 from Edmund Spenser's Immortality, written all the way back in 1595. And what's so cool about it is how it starts with something so simple, a day at the beach, but ends up tackling this huge idea of eternity.
And really, the whole thing boils down to this one big question, something we've all wondered about. I mean, we all try so hard to hold on to special moments, to people, to memories. But time, it just doesn't care. It has other plans. And what Spenser does here is tackle that problem head-on.
And the poem kicks off with this image that is just so simple, but so powerful. Writing a name in the sand, only to have the waves wash it away. It's the perfect picture of that constant struggle against the fact that nothing seems to last. You try to make your mark, and then, whoosh, nature or time just wipes it clean, like it was never there.
So right from the get-go, we've got the main event, the core conflict. This isn't just some guy on a beach, you know? It's something bigger. It's the creative human spirit going toe-to-toe with the relentless, destructive forces of nature and time. So the big question is, who's gonna win?
And you'll notice he doesn't just give up, he writes the name again. But the tide comes back. And here's where it gets really interesting. The poem says the tide made his efforts its prey. Think about that word, prey. All of a sudden, this isn't just mindless waves washing things away. It's a predator, something that's actively hunting down and destroying what he's trying to create.
And then the conflict gets personal, because it turns into a conversation. You've got these two totally clashing worldviews. On one side, you have his beloved. She's the practical one, the voice of reason, basically saying, hey, that's just how life works. But the poet, he's a total idealist. He's absolutely convinced that she is so amazing, so special, that she just has to somehow beat death.
I mean, she calls him out directly. She says, vain man, basically telling him his whole effort is pointless and maybe a little arrogant. And you have to understand, for a poem from this time, that's a big deal. For the woman in a Renaissance sonnet to have such a clear, logical voice and to actually challenge the poet, that gives her some serious power. She's not just a silent muse.
So, okay, the problem is clear, and she's just laid down this perfectly logical argument against him. It honestly feels like the poet has lost, right? Game over. But this is a sonnet. And just when you think it's settled, the whole poem makes a sharp turn, and he comes back with this brilliant, totally unexpected solution. And this pivot actually has a name. It's called the volta. It's that moment in a sonnet where everything just turns a corner. And for our poet, this is the point where he stops trying to fight the ocean head-on. Instead, he decides he's going to change the rules of the game completely. So here it is, his brilliant comeback. He actually agrees with her, but he says, yeah, you're right, but only for baser things, for ordinary, earthly stuff. He argues that she is different. Her legacy isn't going to be written in something as temporary as sand. No, it's going to be secured by fame. And that fame will come from his poetry.
Okay, and this is where Spenser's genius just, wow. It really shines. Because he doesn't just say his poetry will last forever. He actually weaves that promise into the very bones of the poem, into its structure.
So to really get what he's doing here, you got to see how his type of sonnet is different. You've got Petrarchan sonnets, which kind of set up a problem and then solve it. You've got Shakespearean ones that build up to a big twist at the end. But Spenser's? His form is all about creating this seamless, continuous flow.
Look at that rhyme scheme. See how the rhyme from the end of one section gets picked up and carried into the next? It's like this beautiful interlocking chain of sound. The poem's structure itself is a metaphor for what he's promising. It's a form that literally resists being broken apart, just like he wants their love to resist decay. It's absolutely brilliant.
So, okay, he's built his argument, he's even woven it into the poem's DNA. Now, Spenser brings it all home, zeroing in on this ultimate triumph of art and love over death and decay.
So let's just do a quick recap of the symbols he's using here. You've got the sand, which is basically any fragile human effort. Then you have the waves, which is just time, constantly erasing everything. But then poetry steps in. It becomes a monument, something stronger than stone. And the heavens? That's the final destination, the truly eternal place where her name will be written.
And here's the promise, laid out plain and simple. He's not messing with sand anymore. He says his poetry will eternalize her and literally write her name in the heavens. I mean, think about that jump. He goes from the most temporary canvas you can imagine, wet sand, to the most permanent one there is, the stars themselves.
And this is the grand finale, the triumphant conclusion he delivers in that final two-line punch. There's just this incredible certainty here. He's not saying, I hope our love will live. He's stating it as a fact. Even when death is won everywhere else, he says, our love shall live and be renewed.
So, after all that, did it work? Was he just making a crazy, arrogant claim? Well, here we are, more than 400 years later, talking about this exact poem. His words are still here. So, yeah, I'd say his love was immortalized. The poem we're reading right now is the ultimate proof that he wasn't just a vain man after all.
It's just such a powerful idea, isn't it? That art, that words can actually beat time. And it really makes you think, especially today, in a world where everything feels so temporary, like a tweet or a story that vanishes. It makes you wonder, what are we building that's meant to last? What will the words we use leave behind?